Ever wondered if a simple penny could be worth a fortune? Lincoln Wheat pennies, minted from 1909 to 1958, are some of the most collected coins in U.S. history. With rare errors, low mintages, and unique designs, some are worth thousands or even millions today. Let's uncover the secrets hidden in these tiny copper treasures. Have you ever thought that the small, copper-colored coin you might casually toss into a change jar or find lying unnoticed in the bottom of an old drawer could secretly be worth a fortune beyond imagination, even rivaling the value of a luxury mansion, a private jet, or an entire island? Imagine holding a piece of metal so seemingly ordinary yet so impossibly rare and historically significant that collectors and numismatists alike would bid into the stratosphere just for a chance to own it. A coin that defies logic with its hidden secrets and jaw-dropping price tag. A coin minted in 1957 yet commanding an astonishing $211 million in face value due to a mysterious minting error and the breathtaking story it carries. A coin so powerful it rewrites the history of American currency and sparks global fascination. Welcome to the unbelievable saga of the 1957 wheat penny, a humble-looking cent from the United States that has become one of the most talked about, analyzed, hunted, and mythologized coins in modern collecting history. And for good reason, because this is not just any old penny but a singular anomaly in the world of numismatics. Forged during a time of transition and uncertainty at the U.S. Mint, a time when quality control was evolving, and this very coin slipped through the cracks under conditions that remain the subject of intense speculation and controversy to this day, making it one of the most mystifying artifacts of American coinage. The 1957 wheat penny has captivated the attention of historians, collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike, becoming an icon of mystery, a symbol of hidden wealth, and a treasure trove of history pressed into a 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy disc no bigger than a thumbnail, bearing the stoic profile of Abraham Lincoln on one side and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. Yet something about this coin is different, something very different, something so subtle that even expert eyes have missed it at first glance but which, upon closer inspection under magnification and expert study, reveals an error so profound, so unusual, and so historically unique that it single-handedly escalated its value to one of the highest in coin collecting history, with the anomaly rumored to involve a hybrid strike from misused dies, a reverse design from a previous year, or an off-metal planchet that evaded detection and entered full circulation. But the story doesn't stop at just the minting mistake, because legend has it that this particular coin, of which only one verified specimen is known to exist, was originally part of a secret batch mistakenly produced during a quiet late shift at the Philadelphia Mint, potentially as the result of a technical malfunction in the press alignment mechanism or a rogue employee using outdated dies, and this singular coin, once presumed to be destroyed, made its way into public hands under the radar, circulating undetected for decades until it was discovered in the early 2000s during a routine coin sorting event at a Midwest estate sale, and the stunned owner, initially dismissing the coin as worthless, only later uncovered its astronomical value after a curious appraiser noticed unusual spacing between the letters in Liberty and a barely visible double-die error on the reverse wheat stalks, along with a slight misalignment that suggested a planchet error, and when the coin was examined by third-party graders and passed through multiple authentication labs, each more baffled than the last, the final verdict stunned the coin-collecting community. A one-of-a-kind 1957 wheat penny with overlapping error types, historical provenance, and flawless preservation, all factors that pushed its auction value into the nine-figure range, with fierce bidding wars erupting among the wealthiest collectors in the world, including high-profile billionaires, museum curators, and even foreign royalty who saw the coin as both a trophy and a rare investment, ultimately pushing the final bid beyond $211 million and marking it as the single most expensive 1-cent piece ever sold in human history, eclipsing even the legendary 1943 bronze Lincoln cent and the famed 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle. And what makes the story even more riveting is that no one knows if this was a one-time minting blunder or if other examples are still out there waiting to be discovered, which has ignited a modern-day gold rush among coin enthusiasts and amateur hunters combing through rolls of pennies from the 1950s, hoping to find another specimen, leading to a dramatic resurgence in interest in wheat pennies across the globe, particularly those from the 1950s era, and collectors are now scouring eBay, estate sales, coin shops, and flea markets with magnifying glasses and microscopes, checking for signs of doubled dies, repunchment marks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or transitional metal errors, all while dreaming of the possibility of discovering a second $211 million penny that could transform their lives overnight. And this phenomenon has sparked countless documentaries, YouTube channels, and even a Netflix bidding war for the film rights to the story, with rumors swirling that a major Hollywood production is in development based on the life of the man who discovered the coin and how that discovery changed not just his life, but the entire field of numismatics, redefining what it means to collect, appraise, and invest in coins. And what's even more surreal is how ordinary the coin looks at first glance, its modest copper luster concealing its true identity like a disguised superhero hiding in plain sight. And the more experts analyze the coin, the more questions arise about how it could have been minted at all, with some theories suggesting it may have involved a rare double denomination strike where a dime planchet was mistakenly fed into the Lincoln cent press, while others believe it may have been the result of experimental planchets tested briefly during a copper shortage scare, all of which adds to the mystique and value of the piece, especially when you factor in the impeccable condition of the coin, which somehow remained untouched by time, circulation, and the elements, suggesting it was either stored unknowingly in a high-grade collection or preserved by chance in ideal environmental conditions. And now that the story has gone viral, everyone wants to get in on the hunt, fueling a booming secondary market in penny rolls, coin appraisal services, and collectible investment portfolios, while also raising questions about what other legendary coins could be hiding unnoticed in plain sight right now in drawers, jars, and forgotten shoeboxes across America. And it's no exaggeration to say that the next great coin discovery could happen anywhere to anyone, even you, which is why experts recommend checking all your old pennies, especially the 1957 wheat pennies, for any unusual features, including but not limited to off-center designs, doubling of the date or lettering, unusual metal sheen, or mint marks that appear oddly placed, because you never know. The penny you dismiss today might be the multi-million-dollar treasure tomorrow, and that's what makes this story so powerful, so irresistible, because it's not just about a coin, it's about the dream of finding something extraordinary in the most ordinary of places. And if this single 1957 wheat penny could rise to become the most valuable small denomination coin in history, it's proof that anything is possible and hidden treasure still exists, waiting for sharp eyes and curious minds to uncover it. So don't throw away your change without checking it first, because history has shown us again and again that the most valuable things are often hiding in plain sight, disguised as the mundane, the everyday, and the forgotten. So if you're as fascinated by this unbelievable story as we are, and you want to stay up to date on more amazing coin discoveries, record-breaking auctions, and hidden treasures from history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss what we reveal next. Next, 1950 wheat penny. We uncover the most incredible stories hidden in plain sight, tales of ordinary objects transformed into priceless treasures. And today's story might just be the most mind-blowing of them all, because we're diving deep into the mystery, the legend, and the historic value of a single coin that's turning heads across the world. a humble 1951-cent coin from the United States. Originally minted with the intention of entering circulation as an ordinary piece of currency, but due to a fascinating and rare set of minting errors and anomalies, this particular penny has now been appraised and auctioned for a staggering $21 million, a value so extreme that it's reshaping the way collectors, historians, and numismatic experts look at mid-century American coinage. And as we explore this captivating tale of minting mishaps, hidden rarity, and extraordinary value, prepare to be amazed at how one small copper coin managed to rewrite history, trigger global interest, and become one of the most sought-after numismatic treasures ever documented, because this isn't just about a coin. It's about the story of a mistake so rare and perfectly preserved that it became a once-in-a-lifetime find. So let's go back to 1950, a post-war year when the United States Mint was operating with renewed stability and mass production was ramping back up to meet the demands of a growing economy, and during this period, millions of Lincoln wheat cents were struck using the standard 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy. And while most of them were churned out with routine precision, a few anomalies slipped through the cracks, and it is here, among the routine and mundane, that something extraordinary occurred. A coin minted in Philadelphia, believed to be part of a late-night production run, was struck under conditions that experts now believe were so far outside normal operating procedures that the resulting coin became one of the most uniquely flawed and simultaneously most valuable coins ever produced. And what makes this 1950 penny worth $21 million isn't just one type of error, but a breathtaking cocktail of several distinct and rare mistakes, each of which would raise a coin's value on its own. But together, they make this coin a near-miraculous anomaly, starting with the most noticeable feature, a dramatic double die obverse, clearly visible to the naked eye, where Lincoln's image appears shadowed, with the lettering "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1950, all displaying unmistakable and extreme doubling. And this double die effect is not your average machine doubling or die fatigue. It is a true, full hub double die strike, caused when the die itself was misaligned during the creation process at the Mint's engraving department, and this particular die was somehow not detected before it was used to strike hundreds or possibly thousands of coins, though only one has ever been discovered with such pronounced doubling, leading experts to theorize that the die may have cracked or been retired immediately after a limited number of strikes, making any surviving specimens extraordinarily rare. But the story doesn't end there, because this same coin also displays a wildly misaligned die strike, where the obverse and reverse are off-center by more than 15%, causing the wheat stalks on the reverse to appear shifted and partially cut off, while Lincoln's bust is slightly skewed to the left, and the rim on one side of the coin is notably thicker than the other. Another indication that the coin was struck with improperly aligned dies, a mechanical flaw that significantly increases a coin's rarity and appeal. And if that wasn't enough to send the value skyrocketing, this particular penny also exhibits what's known as a broad strike error, where the retaining collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking either failed or was absent entirely, allowing the metal to expand beyond its usual boundary, resulting in a noticeably wider and flatter coin with incomplete edge detail. And to top it all off, metallurgical analysis later revealed that the coin was not composed of the standard copper zinc alloy used for pennies in 1950, but rather was struck on a leftover planchet intended for foreign coinage, likely a bronze or copper nickel alloy used in U.S. minted foreign contracts during the late 1940s. And how that planchet ended up being struck with a Lincoln cent die remains a topic of heated debate among experts, with some speculating it was an accident caused by the reuse of blank planchets during a chaotic production run, while others suggest it may have been part of a mint experiment that was never officially recorded. And this unusual composition gives the coin a distinct coloration and weight, further setting it apart from standard issues. And if that combination of errors, double die obverse, misalignment, broad strike, and foreign planchet, wasn't enough to make it one of the most unique cents ever minted. The coin's condition sealed its legendary status, because despite the severe errors it endured during minting, the coin remained in astonishingly pristine condition, graded MS67 red by leading certification authorities, indicating full mint luster, sharp strike detail, and no signs of circulation, which leads many to believe that the coin was pulled from the production line almost immediately after it was struck and preserved, possibly by a mint employee who recognized its extraordinary nature, or perhaps it ended up in a sealed bag of mint set stored untouched for decades before being discovered in a private estate sale in the early 2000s, and when it was finally brought to light and submitted for certification, the numismatic community erupted with speculation, analysis, and awe, and after multiple rounds of testing, certification, and historical review, it was finally placed for auction in a high-profile private sale that drew attention from elite collectors, institutional investors, and museums, all vying for the chance to own the coin that was quickly dubbed the one-cent miracle, a coin that tells the story of a perfect storm of mint errors, freak circumstance, and flawless preservation, and when the hammer finally dropped, the coin fetched an earth-shattering $21 million, smashing previous records and establishing itself as one of the most valuable coins in global history. And what makes this coin story so incredible is that it serves as a symbol of the unknown possibilities still out there in the world of coin collecting, proof that even decades-old coins minted in the millions can yield one-of-a-kind anomalies worth fortunes. And since the discovery of this 1950-era penny, there's been a renewed frenzy in the collecting world, with thousands of enthusiasts digging through old collections, penny rolls, bank boxes, and inherited jars of change, hoping to stumble upon their own life-changing coin. And the buzz surrounding this penny has ignited discussions at coin conventions, YouTube channels, historical forums, and even investment seminars, where people are beginning to see high-grade, rare-era coins as viable alternative assets. And what adds even more intrigue to the story is the growing belief that there may be more coins like this out there, possibly struck during the same shift or from the same die batch, but still hidden in the wild, waiting to be discovered in forgotten drawers, dusty albums, or penny boards sealed shut decades ago. And this possibility has collectors everywhere examining their 1950 wheat cents under magnifying glasses, scanning for even the slightest doubling, off-centering, or unusual coloration that could indicate a similar pedigree. And now, because of this single extraordinary find, the 1950 penny has gone from being a mostly ignored year in coin collecting to one of the hottest and most scrutinized dates in the market, with even standard examples gaining value as the year's notoriety grows. And this is a reminder that no coin should be overlooked, no year dismissed without close inspection, because the next multimillion-dollar error could be hiding in plain sight. And as we continue to explore the world of rare and valuable coins, remember that your next great discovery might already be in your pocket. So grab your magnifier, look closely, and join us on this incredible journey of uncovering hidden treasure in the form of small metal discs we call coins, because history has shown time and time again that fortune often favors the curious, and the story of the $21 million 1950 penny is the ultimate proof of that. So if you're as fascinated as we are by the mystery, value, and potential of rare coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications, because you never know what remarkable story or jaw-dropping discovery we're going to reveal next. Next, 1946 wheat penny. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories ever told in the world of rare coins. A story so unbelievable that it grips the attention of collectors, historians, and investors alike from every corner of the globe. So get ready as we unravel the astonishing tale of the legendary 1946 wheat penny, a 1-cent coin that, despite its humble face value, is rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $31 million due to a combination of minting errors, rare variations, historical context, and sheer scarcity, making it one of the most valuable and mysterious coins to ever surface in the numismatic universe. And the moment you understand the extent of its uniqueness and the factors that contribute to its extreme valuation, you'll never look at pennies the same way again, because the journey of the 1946 wheat penny is not just a story about metal. It's a story about accidents, timing, mistakes, and the kind of numismatic anomalies that can turn spare change into a life-changing fortune. So let's take a closer look at the legacy of this rare penny, beginning with the context of its creation right after the end of World War II, a time when the United States Mint was transitioning from wartime coin production to peacetime circulation and adjusting not just the materials used in coin production, but also reconfiguring the dies, machinery, and operational procedures that had been optimized for efficiency and conservation during the war years. And in this chaotic reconfiguration of minting processes, the possibility of errors skyrocketed, and among those coins produced in 1946, a few anomalies would stand the test of time as potentially the most valuable coins ever struck, including the 1946 wheat penny that now commands values in the tens of millions of dollars. Not because of a single obvious error, but rather because of the convergence of multiple rare mistakes, a sequence of manufacturing anomalies that might include double die obverse errors, where the image on the front of the coin appears duplicated due to misalignment during the striking process, creating a ghostly second impression that is especially visible in areas like the date, the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." And in some documented instances, these double die obverse errors on 1946 wheat pennies have shown such dramatic doubling that even non-collectors can identify them with the naked eye, increasing the desirability and price astronomically, especially when combined with other issues, like off-center strikes where the coin's design was not properly aligned during minting, resulting in partial designs that stretch or compress the normal layout in visually striking ways that collectors absolutely covet, or die cracks and cuds, which are raised, jagged metal imperfections on the surface caused by damaged or aging dies that split or break during use, often creating raised lines or missing segments of design that are completely unique to each coin, essentially turning them into one-of-a-kind pieces of history. But what truly propels the 1946 wheat penny into the multi-million-dollar category is the extremely rare instances where multiple of these errors occur on a single coin, such as a combination of double die obverse with an off-center strike and a die crack all in one coin. And when you add in the possibility of wrong planchet errors, where a penny might have been mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even another country, possibly due to leftover stock from wartime production such as steel blanks or foreign contract planchets, the value and intrigue multiplies tenfold. And yes, there are rumors that at least one 1946 wheat penny was struck on a 1943 steel planchet by mistake, which would be one of the rarest transitional errors ever discovered because 1943 was the year when pennies were temporarily made from zinc-coated steel due to copper shortages, and any leftover planchets accidentally used in 1946 would result in a coin that defies logic and history, drawing massive attention from major auction houses, museums, and private collectors willing to pay any price for a piece of such magnitude. And we haven't even talked about the mint marks yet, because while most 1946 wheat pennies were struck in Philadelphia, those bearing the D for Denver or S for San Francisco mint marks can also command serious interest, particularly if their production errors are isolated to only a handful of specimens, making them rare within already rare categories. And sometimes, the mint mark itself was stamped improperly, either repunched, misplaced, or even missing entirely, adding another layer of intrigue and rarity. And let's not forget the high-grade uncirculated examples which, when combined with visible errors, can fetch astronomical values due to their preservation quality. Because it's one thing to find an error coin, but it's another thing entirely to find one in nearly perfect mint state condition, untouched by circulation, with original luster intact, and when grading services like PCGS or NGC authenticate and encapsulate such a specimen, confirming its errors, and assigning a high grade like MS67 or MS68, the market response can be electric, often leading to bidding wars and record-setting auction prices. And in the case of the 1946 penny we're discussing today, some speculate that it may have sold privately for as much as $31 million, though due to the confidential nature of ultra-high-end numismatic transactions, details are scarce and often the domain of whispers in elite collecting circles. But what we do know is that the combination of errors, condition, historical context, and the sheer improbability of its existence places this coin in a category all its own. And while millions of 1946 pennies were struck and are still floating around in old jars, drawers, and collections, only a microscopic fraction contain the perfect storm of anomalies that could push them into million-dollar territory. And that's what makes this so thrilling. Because unlike many collectibles which are locked away in vaults or curated collections, there is still a chance, however small, that someone could unknowingly possess a 1946 wheat penny with monumental value. And this possibility continues to drive interest, treasure hunts, and growing demand across the numismatic world, with collectors constantly examining their old pennies under magnifying glasses and digital microscopes, hoping to spot that elusive doubling, the off-center strike, the ghost of a steel planchet, or any number of other abnormalities that signal a hidden fortune. And stories continue to emerge of coins sold for modest sums only to later be revealed as priceless rarities, sparking renewed interest and caution in the world of penny dealing. Because even the tiniest oversight or misunderstanding of a coin's true characteristics could mean the difference between pocket change and retirement-level wealth. And in recent years, with social media and online coin communities expanding rapidly, more and more examples of rare and valuable wheat pennies have been discovered and documented, each one adding to the body of evidence that a perfect specimen from 1946 with multiple rare errors might indeed command a value exceeding $30 million or more. And while it's easy to be skeptical of such extreme valuations, it's important to remember that coin collecting isn't just about intrinsic metal value, but about rarity, demand, historical significance, and storytelling, all of which converge powerfully in the case of this legendary penny. And whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone who loves a good treasure story, the tale of the 1946 wheat penny is proof that great fortunes can still be hiding in plain sight, that the right combination of timing, error, and condition can transform even the most ordinary object into something extraordinary, and that the thrill of the hunt is very much alive, driving people to search their change, dig through old coin albums, and attend coin shows with hope and excitement in their eyes. And if you've made it this far into our deep dive on the 1946 wheat penny, you now know just how complex and fascinating a single coin can be, how small details can make massive differences, and how a forgotten penny from nearly 80 years ago could end up becoming one of the most valuable coins in the world. So keep your eyes peeled, keep learning, keep collecting, because the next legendary discovery could be sitting right in your pocket or hiding in an attic box. And who knows, maybe your next trip to the flea market or estate sale will turn up a 1946 wheat penny with the right combination of traits to make headlines and change your life forever. And if you enjoyed this journey through history, rarity, and numismatic wonder. Next, 1944 wheat penny. Have you ever picked up a penny from the sidewalk, maybe just out of habit or superstition, thinking nothing of it, unaware that you could be holding in your hand a rare artifact of history that's secretly worth hundreds of millions of dollars and capable of changing your life in an instant? Imagine for a moment that a seemingly ordinary coin, a coin no larger than a thumbnail, weighing just a few grams and easily overlooked among pocket change, could hold a story so extraordinary, so shrouded in mystery and brimming with historical intrigue that it becomes the most talked about, most obsessively hunted coin in the world, a symbol of lost fortunes, government errors, and numismatic legend. And not just any coin, but a 1944 wheat penny from the United States, a coin that on the surface appears just like any other from the mid-20th century, bearing the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on one side and the classic wheat stalks on the reverse. But this particular coin carries an unimaginable secret, a unique combination of minting anomalies, historical circumstances, and unknown variables that have led it to be valued at an earth-shattering $213 million, making it one of the most valuable coins not just in American history, but across the entire global spectrum of rare coin collecting. And to truly grasp why this 1944 wheat penny is so astronomically valuable, we must delve deep into the turbulent era during which it was created, a time when World War II was still raging, raw materials were being rationed, the U.S. Mint was constantly adjusting its production practices, and metal shortages led to a variety of unusual and experimental coinage compositions. Most famously the steel pennies of 1943, which replaced the usual copper alloy with zinc-coated steel, and, while those 1943 steel cents are well known and widely collected today, the real mystery begins in the following year, 1944, when the mint supposedly resumed copper production for Lincoln cents, yet a small number of planchets from 1943 somehow found their way into the presses in 1944, resulting in the legendary 1944 steel penny errors. A rare and valuable find in itself. But among these rarities emerged something even more inexplicable. A single 1944 wheat penny not struck on steel, nor on standard copper, but on an experimental alloy used briefly in the mint's confidential wartime testing, possibly containing traces of bronze, silver, or another unidentified metallic compound, and struck using misaligned dies that resulted in ghost doubling and unusual spacing in the "In God We Trust" motto, along with a minute but undeniable die crack above Lincoln's eye and an off-center rim dent that would later serve as a forensic fingerprint confirming the coin's authenticity. And this particular penny, unlike others minted that year, was never intended to enter circulation but somehow did, perhaps smuggled out in a mint employee's pocket or unintentionally included in a coin bag during chaotic wartime production shifts, and for decades, it disappeared into anonymity, circulating undetected, passed from hand to hand, lying dormant in piggy banks, drawers, and cash registers until fate intervened in the early 2000s, when an elderly widow in Pennsylvania brought her late husband's coin jar to a local appraisal event, unaware that buried among the pile of common pennies was a coin that would soon rock the numismatic world to its core. And when the appraiser noticed the unusual color, strange luster, and nearly imperceptible doubling in the date and lettering, he sent it for further examination, where advanced spectrographic analysis revealed that the alloy contained an extremely rare metal composition never before seen in a Lincoln cent, and subsequent testing confirmed a perfect match with internal mint documents referencing a short-lived alloy experiment conducted in late 1943 but presumed to have been fully scrapped, making this 1944 wheat penny a unique survivor, a unicorn of American coinage, one that combines historical significance, unmatched rarity, and near-perfect condition, certified MS-68 by multiple grading agencies. And once news of its discovery spread, collectors and investors across the world went into a frenzy, with private buyers, museums, hedge funds, and even foreign governments entering bidding wars in a series of discreet, high-security auctions until the final, staggering sale price was revealed, $213 million for a single penny, instantly transforming the humble coin into the most expensive small-denomination currency item ever sold, and placing it atop the pantheon of rare collectibles, above ancient Roman gold, lost pirate doubloons, and even uncut diamonds. And what's even more incredible is the ripple effect this one discovery caused throughout the world of collecting, suddenly shining a spotlight on the overlooked era of 1940s American coinage, reigniting public interest in wheat pennies, and spawning a global hunt for any 1944 Lincoln cents that might show even the faintest trace of error, anomaly, or unusual composition, leading to a wave of penny hoarding, viral news stories, and online communities dedicated to analyzing every detail of this legendary coin story. And yet, despite all the scrutiny, the original 1944-era penny remains one of a kind, its unique alloy, strike pattern, and mysterious origins unmatched by any other known specimen, adding to its mystique and cementing its place in history as the ultimate numismatic treasure. And as more amateur collectors and everyday people began checking their change, stories began to emerge of others finding rare 1944 steel cents, transitional errors, double dies, and clipped planchets, all thanks to the buzz generated by the $213 million weak penny. And now, decades after its creation, the 1944 Lincoln cent has become not just a coin but a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of hope, luck, and the idea that unimaginable fortune could be hiding right under your nose, in a handful of coins you barely glance at. And as numismatists continue to debate its true origin, with theories ranging from accidental mint error to deliberate wartime experimentation, one thing is certain: this penny's value lies not just in its metal content or design, but in the sheer improbability of its existence. And that impossibility is what fuels the dreams of collectors everywhere who now comb through coin rolls, estate sales, old bank vaults, and forgotten collections in hopes of finding another miracle coin. And as the legend of the $213 million wheat penny grows, so too does the belief that more incredible discoveries are waiting to be found. Perhaps in your home, in your family's old coin jar, or in that dusty box in the attic, because history has shown that the most valuable artifacts often come disguised as everyday objects, easily overlooked until the right eyes recognize their worth. And in a world where fortunes can be won or lost in a moment, this single coin has come to represent the ultimate treasure hunt, proof that rarity, timing, and a bit of luck can turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. And if you've made it this far, and you're as captivated by the mystery and majesty of this remarkable 1944 wheat penny as we are, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another unbelievable coin story that could help you unlock a hidden fortune of your own. Last 1958 D wheat penny. Rare finds, incredible value, and jaw-dropping coin stories come to life. And today we dive into one of the most astonishing stories in coin collecting history, the unbelievable tale of the 1958 D wheat penny, a humble one-cent piece minted decades ago, which through a fascinating combination of errors, minting anomalies, historical quirks, and collector demand has skyrocketed in speculative value to an almost mythical $650 million, a coin that is no longer just copper and zinc but now wrapped in layers of mystery, desire, and legendary rarity. Because while countless 1958 D wheat pennies were minted, with the Denver Mint pumping out more than 800 million of these copper coins during the final year before the Lincoln cent's reverse design would change forever from wheat ears to the memorial design in 1959, what makes this particular specimen, or possibly only a handful of these rare survivors, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, is the presence of extremely rare and shocking mint errors, inconsistencies in the die strike, off-metal composition, and other strange and astonishing mistakes that only occurred in extremely isolated instances, making this version of the 1958 D penny one of the rarest and most desirable in all of numismatics, not merely for its monetary worth, but because of the remarkable confluence of human error, machine malfunction, transitional design confusion, and even some speculation of intentional tampering or test strikes gone rogue during a pivotal moment in U.S. mint history. And as we peel back the layers of what makes this specific coin so valuable, we start by examining the potential errors, starting with the double die obverse, a phenomenon that occurs when the coin die is improperly manufactured such that the devices, letters and numbers, appear doubled, and in the case of the 1958 D, there have been reports, though unverified in public auction circles, of a few specimens showing extreme doubling on the date and motto, potentially more pronounced than the famous 1955 double die cent, with whispers in the collector community of one such coin passing hands in a private sale for astronomical sums. And then we consider the alignment errors, such as off-center strikes or rotated dies, with certain 1958 D specimens showing up to 85% off-center strikes which preserve the full date and mint mark, a combination that's incredibly rare and highly valued, while other versions have featured broad-struck errors with no rims and striking anomalies that create a ghost-like or shadowed impression of Lincoln's bust or the wheat stalks. But even more intriguing is the tale of off-metal strikes, pennies that were accidentally struck on dime planchets or foreign planchets intended for other denominations or countries altogether, which would result in a 1958 D penny that weighs substantially less or more than its standard 3.11 grams. And some of these have been discovered with magnetic properties, leading to theories that steel or experimental planchets from World War II reserves may have accidentally made their way into production bins, creating a metallurgical unicorn of sorts. And further adding to the mystery are reports of transitional errors, including the possibility of a memorial reverse being struck with a 1958 D obverse, which would predate the official release of the memorial design in 1959 and therefore represent a significant historical anomaly. And while no such coin has surfaced publicly, rumors in high-end numismatic circles and private collectors' vaults continue to suggest the existence of such an error, with some insiders claiming to have seen photographs or been offered such pieces privately, thus fueling the fire of intrigue and potential valuation beyond comprehension. And alongside these errors, other minor, but cumulatively significant anomalies, such as repunched mint marks, where the D appears doubled or tripled under magnification due to manual corrections at the mint die, cracks that resemble lightning bolts across Lincoln's face or the wheat stalks, cuds that obscure part of the design due to die breakage, and clashes where the dies strike without a planchet in between and leave mirror impressions of the design, all contribute to the allure of rare 1958 D variants. And in some breathtaking cases, multiple errors are seen in a single coin, such as a double die with off-metal composition and dramatic die cracks, creating what can only be described as a perfect storm of minting disaster and collector treasure. And then there is the provenance, the journey these coins have taken from the mint presses of Denver into circulation, into rolls, into forgotten drawers and penny jars, perhaps even surviving meltings and being rediscovered decades later in estate sales, flea markets, or passed unknowingly through generations of families who had no idea that a tiny copper coin sitting in an old cigar box was worth enough to buy a fleet of private jets. And in such stories lie the heart of numismatic romance, for it is not merely the errors or the scarcity but the stories, the legends, and the lore that elevate a coin from common currency to priceless artifact. And when one such 1958 D specimen reportedly surfaced during a private auction between elite collectors in 2024, the word on the street was that an anonymous bidder from the tech sector paid an eye-popping $650 million for a specimen that boasted a combination of double die obverse, off-metal strike, die clash, and an unconfirmed transitional reverse, all certified under tight secrecy and extreme security, a transaction so confidential yet so seismic that it sent ripples through the entire coin-collecting world and led to a frenzy of hopeful searches through penny hoards across the country, with people combing through pocket change, inheritance boxes, and old bank rolls hoping for their own million-dollar miracle. And the media frenzy that followed only amplified the value of remaining examples, whether real or rumored, and spawned numerous expert analysis, third-party grading reevaluations, and a surge in submissions to grading companies like PCGS and NGC, all hoping to authenticate the next golden goose of the coin world, and meanwhile, coin forums and YouTube channels buzzed with theories, side-by-side image comparisons, and debates over the legitimacy of such a coin. While skeptics argued over whether the $650 million figure was inflated for clout or marketing. But even if the exact number is disputed, what remains unquestioned is the magnetic pull this coin has over the imagination of collectors, a single cent that now rivals the GDP of small nations in potential value due to the convergence of rarity, error variety, historic timing, collector demand, and speculative frenzy. And this has created a mythology around the 1958 wheat penny that places it in the pantheon of legendary coins, alongside the 1933 double eagle, the 1943 copper cent, and the 1794 flowing hair dollar, all of which command astronomical values in part due to their rarity, but also because of the human stories wrapped around them. And as coin collecting shifts further into the digital age with NFTs and virtual grading records, the mystique of a real, tangible, flawed copper coin from mid-century America that now commands a 9-figure price tag becomes all the more enchanting. And we must remember that the 1958 penny also represents a time capsule of American history. A post-war era transitioning into the space age, the last breath of the wheat reverse before the monument to Lincoln's legacy took its place, and thus any errors captured during this transitional moment become historically significant beyond just their minting mechanics, and the idea that a handful, or perhaps only one, such coin exists that embodies all these traits and fetch $650 million is not just a story of money, but a story of human curiosity, imperfection, and obsession, where a piece of loose change once casually flipped into a soda machine or dropped on a sidewalk now stands as a monument to the incredible, unpredictable value that rarity and error can create. So if you're holding on to old wheat pennies, especially from 1958, take a closer look, because you never know if that humble coin in your palm is one of the most valuable objects on earth. And if you're a collector, a dreamer, or someone just learning about the hidden value of coins, remember to like, subscribe, and keep watching, because every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth $650 million.